And welcome to the November meeting of the Public Safety Commission of the State of San Marino. We will begin this evening with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you stand, join us.
Stop the video while I stand. Ready? Should we start? I pledge allegiance to the flag. I don't know if I hear it. Oh, did I start to sing? I didn't hear it. Yeah, I didn't hear it.
Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Jeff Weasel. Commissioner Hunter Chang, he is excused. Commissioner Elizabeth Pfeffer,
Here by Zoom.
Vice Chair Charles Martenson,
Here.
Chair Al Bogue.
Here. With regard to posting of the agenda is posted 72 hours prior to each meeting at the following locations: the City Hall, 2200 Huntington Drive, Carl Public Library, which is at 1890 Huntington Drive, and the Stoneman Building, which is at 1560 Escalito Drive. The agenda is also available on the city's website. With regard to public comment, we welcome public input. Members of the public may address the Public Safety Commission by completing a public comment card, although I haven't seen any of those available, so we'll waive that. Those of you who are in the audience or either physically or by Zoom and wish to comment, we will take public comment for the agenda items on those items that are not agenda. So should you have a comment on something that's not on the agenda, we'll call on you momentarily. Should you have a comment on something that is on the agenda, we'd ask that you wait until the agenda item is called. Are there any public comments at this time? Yes. Would you identify yourself and
out to Contra and various other San Marino leaders concerning the traffic situation.
may I interrupt and ask you to go to the microphone that's over here? I'm sorry, I didn't think of that before, but it may be difficult for those who are on Zoom to hear you otherwise.
Hello, my name is Justin Levy. I'm a junior at San Marino High School, and I recently wrote an email to Chief and Contra and various other San Marino leaders regarding the traffic safety at San Marino High School. And the drop-off system at San Marino, I've noticed, is very dangerous. There are multiple opportunities for a tragic accident to occur, particularly in the north, Winston Avenue, and then in the south, Del Mar Avenue. And in between, there's the alleyway that goes from the corner of Tony's Pizza to the bottom of Ridgeway, which is near the Starbucks. And many cars tend to go through the alleyway, and instead of stopping at the alleyway waiting for cars on Winston and Del Mar to turn into the high school, they just like to go straight through. And I've witnessed many kids almost get hit. And I think a proposal would be a crossing guard near the area. San Marino High School is one of the only schools in San Marino that doesn't have a crossing guard near the main intersection, as well as a stop sign or a no entering sign in the alleyway would, I think, mostly solve the problem. Not for like the entire alleyway, just a certain time, maybe 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. when most kids are getting dropped off at school.
Your comments were shared by members of the council with members of this commission. And as you may not be aware, we plan later this evening to appoint a San Marino traffic task force. And one of the items that they will be tasked with looking at will be looking at safety and traffic safety around the schools. So your comments will be on their agenda or on their list. And we thank you very much. If you, we will make it a point at our meetings, which will receive reports from that task force to address the item you've raised so that you can follow along in the process. I wish I could promise you that something would happen tomorrow. My experience is that things do happen. They sometimes take longer than we would like. But I'm sure that your comments will be given very serious consideration, including the recommendation. Commissioner Bozell, do you have any comment or question at this time?
I do not. Thank you, Bill, for raising these concerns with us. It takes certain advocacy in junior high school and talk to a public agency service commission like ours, and I commend you for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Pfeffler, did you hear his comments? All right, you were able to hear? I'm guessing not. I'm getting a blank stare. We'll make sure that your comments are shared with the other two commissioners. Thank you so much for being here. Are there any other public comments at this time? Are there any reports from members of the commission that they would like to share with the public at this time? Then let's move on to item number 1 on the agenda, which is the police department's monthly report. Chief Contro.
Chair and commissioners. I'll try to be quick, but there's quite a bit of information that I want to share with you. Again, I really want to thank Justin for coming here and for providing me the email and our back and forth conversations. It was very, I really liked it. It was rewarding and satisfying to see that kind of involvement from anyone, and someone who's got teenagers in their house. I do appreciate the involvement and civic pride that you have. I wanted to, you each have a copy of the report in front of you, and I wanted to emphasize just a few things that we, as most people are aware, we have had an increase in burglaries, almost 50% increase this year compared to last. And we did make an arrest on one suspect for burglary. And the important part of that is that we were able to have a resident who had an alarm system and surveillance cameras. And even though the resident was out of town, their daughter, who was watching the house for them, had access to the cameras. She was able to provide us with information, give us direction from where the suspects entered and where they left. And with a quick response, we were able to take that person into custody. The other 4 locations, we had 5 this month, in October rather. The other 4 locations didn't have an alarm, didn't have a security system. And we've done an analysis on our burglaries here in town, along with some other crimes. But we have found that majority of the homes that have been burglarized, where property has been taken, have not had any kind of alarm or security system. And that if they did have one, they didn't turn it on. So we're really going to do a lot this year and the remainder of this year and the coming year to give information to our community that these systems are going to protect your home, they're going to protect you, they're going to protect your neighbors and your neighborhood. With the 5 burglaries we've had, we haven't been able to see a real consistent pattern, although we've seen an increase in slight increase in either the east section of the city where we border Pasadena and the county. And then also in the, what we call the Hill area, the area on the north part of Virginia and north of Lacey Park. Also, we've had about 30 hits from our flock cameras. We were able to make an arrest with the use of the information we got on flock cameras. And I'm very happy to say that South Pasadena, the city of South Pasadena just approved the purchase of several cameras for their city. Speaking with their chief and then the chief of Alhambra, the city also has cameras. We're going to make sure that we work with both cities or all three of us together to make sure the placement is proper and that we will be able to monitor the cameras of each city. So it'll provide a kind of a shield for us on the west side of the city. So we're very happy with that. The community engagement, we've been able to have 4 community meetings this month. And from those, we were able to get a lot of information. One was done by Zoom. We had a coffee with a cop at Starbucks on the 3rd, and we also participated in the trunk or treat. So not only were we handing out candy to kids, but we were talking to parents and others about security and safety while they were watching their kids get candy and have a great time. As far as personnel, we have 28 positions filled. We have 2 positions that we are able to hire over because of retention issues and other hiring problems. We have 2 police officers that are going through backgrounds for us. Both are former police officers from other agencies. And then we are waiting for a final test portion, and we'll be hiring a woman from another department will be coming to us. We also have 2 cadets going through the process of hiring. So we're really getting close. One of the things I'm very happy about is when I meet with chiefs, everyone is saying they have too many vacancies, they can't hire, they can't retain. And I may be going to council asking if I can hire 31. So 1 additional in lieu of, 1 officer is going to go to another agency because of personal reasons and nothing to do with the department at all. As far as technology, again, the flock cameras have been great for us. And then we've been able to talk other chiefs into working towards obtaining those cameras for their cities. And that's helpful. Right now we have South Pasadena, Alhambra. We will have South Pasadena, Arcadia, Monterey Park, and Sierra Madre is now moving forward to thinking about those. If I can only get the new chief that's going to be at Pasadena to get them there, that'll make us almost completely surrounded. And that would be a great asset to our detectives and our officers. In addition to flock cameras for technology, our Performa training program, which is a kind of a gaming type platform for officers on use of force de-escalation training, and that's just starting out. We will be submitting our request to purchase the crime scene mapping systems called Faro. As soon as that's in place, we'll be able to put, as that's approved, we'll be able to put it in place pretty quick. And within the Los Angeles County Police Chiefs Association, we're talking to a company that provides rapid DNA results. It's a testing company. And we're also working with the district attorney's office to possibly buy 2 of those rapid DNA testing devices. And it will be a regionalized device. We're just trying to figure out the total costs and how I would approach the council at our regular budget time to do that. What it does now is when we ask for a rapid DNA test, we have to pay extra money to the Glendale or Verdugo lab at Glendale Police Department. And that can be quite costly. And it can still take a couple of weeks. Right now, our DNA test through Verdugo or Glendale PD. An average test can take us about 3 months to get DNA results. And if we waited for the sheriff's lab to do it, we can wait up to a year. Because our cases are not violent crime related and they're not within the county. So our priority drops fairly low. This opportunity will help us, especially with our property crimes and our burglary crimes, because we do get DNA swabs on most of those when they're when we think we have the opportunity. Traffic, we're very pleased to say that one of our officers is currently started today riding his motorcycle. The other officer will be going to another academy sometime between now and March. He wasn't quite successful, but he's been still practicing and we believe he's going to make it. We're doing a lot to increase our efforts in moving violations. We're instructing our personnel on not only looking at locations where the primary collision is, where the collisions are happening, but also trying to enforce those violations related to the primary collision factor of the collision. So if it's a speeding related, if it's a entering or backing from a driveway or pulling away from the street, if it is failing to stop for a red light. In fact, today I was standing at the corner at the Bank of America, just picked up some lunch, and someone was about 5 car lengths late on a red light, right at Huntington and San Marino. So those are the reasons why people are crashing. Our radar trailer was kind of out of service. It was vandalized, and both of them were vandalized. We had to get replacement parts, and with the issues with trying to get equipment things, that hurt us quite a bit. And there was a delay on that. And then over the weekend, one of our trailers vandalized again. So we're going to be thinking about different ways of deploying those trailers so that we can get them back, recover them before something can happen, move them around more frequently. So that can help us out also. We will be launching a new social media program where we're selecting several of our younger officers and officers who are more interested in social media than others, or rather I should rephrase that, understanding about social media. I like the pictures. Occasionally there's a pretty story, but that's about the extent of it. And I can push the button that I like it. Beyond that, I can't do much else with it, but we have a few people that are very good at that. And as I said, we're going to highlight several of our officers. Officer Abington will be doing most of the traffic related ones as a motor officer. He also recently, during Red Ribbon Week at the high school, gave a short talk about fentanyl, the dangers, and not knowing what an object is, a pill is. You may think it's one thing and it's actually something else. The candy fentanyl right now is what they call it, and it's brightly colored and it's very attractive, and you have no idea what it is. It may have a marking for a certain type of drug, and it turns out to not be that drug at all. And most of those pills have extremely high amounts of fentanyl. And if you understand that when you are prescribed fentanyl, it's in micrograms, and these are in grams weight. So this stuff will kill you. So he did a great job talking to the high school kids. And then also our patrol officers, our detectives will also be highlighted and used on a more common or regular basis so that the community can really connect with our officers and get to know them. We're also, because of the recent hiring that we've had, we're going to be doing introductory social media posts on who the new officers are, who our new cadets are, and other things that maybe new programs will start. So we want to get more people involved. We want to urge people to go to our Instagram page and learn a little bit more about us. That's my report. If you have any questions, I'm available.
Let's start with Commissioner Pfeffer. Can you have any questions for the chief?
not really a question. I did see the report with the primary collision factor, and I know the reports, there's standard CHP, forms would check the box. But like, if someone's texting, it's like so technically like they're speeding, but they're texting, or it's inattention, so texting, how does that show up on the statistics? Or pedestrians are texting or looking at their phones, so they're not looking.
Not only on the CHP form is there the primary collision factor, but there's a secondary collision factor. And if we have information, whether it's primarily through an eyewitness, that they saw the person texting, or maybe
Right.
an officer observed them texting, then we would include that as a secondary. When we're investigating, we will ask people if they were texting. We don't usually have enough to take their phone and
Right.
and then do a investigation on the phone, a forensics investigation. And if a pedestrian was walking and they were injured, we would also ask them, or we would ask witnesses if they saw them.
Okay, I was just wondering if inattention due to, being, texting or being on the phone, when they're driving, if that, it looks fairly constant, it's increasing, decreasing, if there's any trend one way or the other.
I can't answer that. I don't have that information, but it's
Okay.
something that we talk about. To
Sure.
always ask and always be aware of, and we do cite people for texting or other unintended methods of driving.
Right. Yeah, no, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Martinson?
A couple of questions. For the flock cameras, I didn't notice I heard it, but I actually just noticed that Chapman Woods installed them at their entrances to their properties or their estates.
I will check on that. I wasn't aware of it. I don't know if their homeowners association did it in conjunction with Temple Sheriffs. I did know the Temple Station Sheriffs had flock cameras, I believe in Rosemead or Temple City. And we'll do a follow-up and find out about those in Chapman Woods.
Cool. I hope it just gives you a deeper network.
will.
What I had, page 7, complete training. You talked about the officer. For the trailers, the stalker trailer, I noticed, it's unfortunate. It's glad they're back. It's unfortunate since the report that they've been taken out of service again. I was wondering, are the traffic officers trained on using that easy analysis software with those trailers? So once the data is generated, as it records it over the deployment, that they can kind of be smart about how to leverage that to put traffic cops out there?
We are pulling the data. Commander Tebbets is doing that.
Okay.
And then I have Sergeant Bestpitch here, who is my traffic coordinator, and he is able to do that. And we will be training Officer Addington very shortly.
Got it. Okay, so it is part of the normal kind of once it's pulled back in to download the data and use the tool to analyze, the hot periods of the day, et cetera.
Yes, and we're also looking at some of the new software that we have that may be able to produce maps that show hotspots of where traffic collisions, just as we're starting to use that for our crime patterns.
Perfect. And then in looking at the crime stats, I had noticed that the walk-in number had gone significantly up. Is there a theme around that, or is that just people paying parking tickets? Any background?
I don't have any information. I noticed that today, and I don't have the information right now.
Okay. May I follow up with you next month just about get clarity if it's still going up?
Yes.
Thank you. And then on page 12, there's stats for a couple of different tools: Nixle, the SMS, the voice, and the email system. What is do I want to sign up for all those? Can you give a little bit of background on why I'd want to do one versus the other and which one's our priority?
The priority would be a text message. However, one of the options is you have, after you sign up for Nixle, you can then go to the website. And on the website, you monitor the method that you want to be notified. It could be only email, it could be text messaging, or also when you want to receive messages, you may be able to, you are able to turn it off at certain hours of the day. And that's solely controlled by the person who signs up with Nixle.
Got it. So then is the Nixle stat and the SMS stats, are those kind of the same, just depending on how you ask that service to communicate with you?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and then what is the voice option listed for a stat there?
Can, to tell you, the truth, I don't know.
Okay,
We'll take a look at that.
okay, and then email too, I guess. Not sure what distribution that is too, but that would be interesting.
The email is, again, it's what the person who signs up, they can sign up only for email.
Okay, so is it fair to say it's Nixle the tool and you can either get SMS or email from it? Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that clarity. That's all I have.
Commissioner Brazil?
Thank you, Chief. We're very thorough report as always. What's the status of our mapping out of the procedures for the CCW issue?
2 questions. The mapping.
No, mapping was a bad word. then.
Okay.
How are we coming on putting together our procedures for dealing with CCW permit application?
We have written our policy. I have reviewed interview questions today.
May I interrupt for just a second? You used a series of letters and not everyone may know what you're talking about. Would you mind restating the question?
It's the concealed weapon permit. We've been discussing for a couple of weeks. Procedures for approval of concealed weapon permit.
Yes, exactly. And as I said, we've put together a policy. We updated the policy. We have put together questions for our detective that will be interviewing applicants. We have put the process together. We have made the connection with the psychologist that will be interviewing applicants. The law requires us to use the same psychologist that we use for our officer hiring. The unfortunate thing is the courts and the law have said that we can only collect X amount of fees. And we will probably be in the hole for about $300 per applicant. Right now, we're looking at 8 to 10 applicants that are waiting to go through the system. And we will have to budget for that in the future. But it looks like by the end of next month, city attorney approval and review, and we will be up and running the system.
I don't have any questions for you, Chief. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
We'll move along to item 2, which is the fire department's monthly report.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioners.
We have a new reporter. We have a new chief. And thank you for being with us this evening.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Very exciting for me to be here and grateful for the opportunity. So appreciate all your support. So I want to start by saying thank you for everyone for their support for coming to the RA dedication day. It was very important to us that we have a good turnout. So thank you to the commissioners that showed up, to the mayor and council, our police department, and a lot of the community that came. So we really appreciate that. It was a very successful day and happy to see everybody. As far as the report goes, which you have for personnel and staffing, we're doing really well with staffing. Like Chief Contra said, we're very fortunate to be at a point where probably next month we'll be fully staffed. We have one gentleman finishing his background process right now. We have another one that just finished his pre-employment evaluation, and he actually began his orientation today. He has a 4-day orientation, and he'll actually be on the floor starting the 28th. So that's good for us. As far as significant incidents, on October 14th, Engine 91 was dispatched to a solo vehicle rollover. When they arrived, firefighters discovered the vehicle overturned with the engine compartment fully involved with fire and exposing nearby vegetation. Once the firefighters went into action, they ensured that there was no victims trapped. The occupant was able to self-extricate. They quickly started with the vegetation and extinguished the car fire. Fortunately, no one was hurt, and it was isolated to that incident with one car. The other incident in October, we had an apartment house fire in South Pasadena where I was Battalion 9 and Engine 91 was dispatched to a carport fire. When we arrived, we found a portion of the carport on fire, South Pass Engine 81 with our engine. Initiated fire attack, and upon investigation, it was arson. And fortunately, we are fortunate to have an arson investigator assigned to each shift. Our arson investigator that day was able to interview the suspect, take him in and actually take him into custody and arrest him for arson. So that was a very well event for us, not only being part of the initial fire attack, but our arson team to be involved in getting an arrest. But also that day, our other investigator assisted in a second alarm fire in Monrovia, and he participated in that investigation as well. And that is suspected to be arson, and he'll also be, as they move forward with that, getting all the information together, that will probably be part of that arrest as well. On November 10th, the 2 days before we put the new ambulance into service, RA engine and RA91 assisted in delivering a baby for an expecting mother in town. We don't get a lot of these, so it's actually kind of, it is fun for the guys because we don't do it very often. Right now, we average about 1 every 5 years. So what was actually kind of neat was on the day of the ambulance dedication, the last one that we delivered, he's now 5. He was there and we took pictures with him. Obviously, the mother of this incident, she couldn't make it, but they did a very good job. As usual, nothing goes right when you call 911 when your wife's expecting. They did deliver en route to the hospital, and the baby did have its umbilical cord wrapped around its neck, which they successfully untangled and delivered without problem. And she was transported to Huntington Hospital with no issues, and they're all doing fine. So that was an exciting day. The next one was on November 11th. It was actually Veterans Day. It was an unusual busy day for all of us. Our RA was actually in another city assisting with mutual aid, and we had another traffic accident, TC rollover at the intersection of San Gabriel and California, where Engine 91, myself, and South Pasadena RA assisted. We had 3 vehicles involved, a truck with a trailer that was overturned and 2 other cars that were involved with it. All passengers were able to get out on their own. We did have a truck company from Pasadena en route to help, but we didn't need them. And that patient was transported with minor injuries to Huntington Hospital. And again, with support from the police department, we were able to get that pretty much out of the way and secured and get that intersection open again. For the community, other than the RA dedication, we participated in the Carver Elementary read-along that we do every year. It's for first and second graders that we give read books to, and we give a tour of the fire engine. So we do that pretty much all week for Carver. And as a continued with our Operation Fire Safe, we did a smoke detector and carbon monoxide alarm installation for a resident in town. Again, we offer this free of charge, and we encourage families to call, and we'll come and look at your house and assist you in a way that we recommend that you may need to make your home more safe. Other than that, that's the end of the report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Commissioner Pfeffer? Any questions? I'm not sure you heard me. I'm going to assume you have no questions. Commissioner Martin? No question.
No questions. Thank you.
I do have one question, and it has to do with the report, which is on page 21 of our packet, but it's a report with statistics, and it continues to report substantial overtime related to an injury on duty. Is there someone that I believe at one point Chief reported that there's someone who had been out for an extended period of time?
He's still, yes, sir, you're right. It is still long-term. Fingers crossed, he will return. He has a follow-up on December 1st. And if all goes well, he'll return to work December 2nd.
I imagine he's looking forward to coming back.
Very much so. He's currently on modified duty right now. And he is coming in to assist with, 40-hour work week with daily duties, which as firefighters working our normal 24-hour shift, anybody would be in a hurry to get back to their normal schedule. But
That's good news.
we're good news, yeah, because he has been off for an extended amount of time, so that will help in the month.
I actually have a follow-up question into the comment you made about your investigator, arson investigator. And you said there's someone on each shift that is trained and I guess empowered in that role,
Yes, yes,
because you indicated they could make an arrest.
yes, sir, yes. They can.
So
So we're part of the Verdugo Area C Task Force. And with the assistance with the police department with training, we do monthly training with that, and we have a investigator assigned each day. So that happened to be that day, we actually had 2 on duty, so that way one could assist in South Pasadena, the other one in Monrovia, which is uncommon. We do not, maybe it varies. We could go weeks without anything, and then we could go, we had 2 in one day. So it's fortunate and exciting for our team to actually be involved with that.
well, thank you. That takes us to item 3 on the agenda. Manager Gutierrez.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Is it working? You guys hear me?
It was a moment ago.
It works, but it just. I'll speak a little louder.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. So our follow-up items, the ITERIS report, I know we've completed and each of you have a copy. They will be presenting this to you guys in the January meeting. However, if you guys have any other questions or concerns, feel free to email me, myself or Director Newman, and we will relay these questions to ITERIS so they could have them answered prior to the presentation for you guys. As far as projects in construction, we have our street rehab. All American Asphalt has completed their curb and gutter. We have asked them to stop work because of the holiday season. So they will return for the actual rehab of the streets sometime mid-January. As far as the San Marino Center renovation, last week, Public Works arranged for 2 council members to take a tour of the project with our project manager, Cody Roth, to see the progress of the project. We do have future tours planned with the San Marino Task Force, the Community Service Department staff, and the Rec Commission. In addition, you could also go now to the city website under the Public Works tab. And then under that, you'll see the San Marino Center renovation, and you'll have monthly reports now from here on out, where you'll see pictures, details of what's going on. As far as our maintenance staff, we recently purchased wood chips for our park, the Lacey Playground. Those got installed earlier this month. We do this annually. In addition, we met with Rotary Club and the Rec Department to get the Holiday House kind of renovated and get it ready to be set up for the holiday season. We will be putting it together Saturday with the Rotary and the Rec staff and some volunteers, so it will be installed Saturday, December 3rd. During the heavy rain, staff was proactively removing palm fronds, weeds, broken limbs, clearing our storm drains. Also, with the heavy winds with partnering with Chief Donville and Chief Contro, we had 2 staff members stay from 5 to midnight, and 2 additional staff relieved them from midnight to 6:30 on that Wednesday and Thursday to help with the heavy winds. That's all I have. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Commissioner Pfeffer, any questions?
No, don't have any questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Mertensen?
Just a couple. For the January Iteris readout, is that something because of the nature of it and kind of the constant concern we've heard around safety in the city that will advertise wider than a traditional meeting, or what are the thoughts around that? Or is that more of a city council thing?
I could, work with, our CM and, our community engagement manager to see how we can go about that. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. And then I was kind of curious, for stopping work during the holidays, is there an additional cost usually for our contracts to do stuff like that? And what is the reason behind that in terms of trying to get it done versus now delaying, 45 days, et cetera?
I don't know the exact details, so I don't want to give you any false information, but I mean, we did sign a contract with them with a set amount, so I'm sure we have it worked out.
Got it. And I guess what is the just inconvenience for the community is why things stop during the holidays, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, the roads get pretty beat up because they grind it down, and you have residents or family coming from out of town and you will not be able to park in the street. I mean, it would be chaotic. It was a good move that we kind of held them off for the holiday season.
Perfect. Thank you for the background. That's all I have.
No problem.
Commissioner Rosen?
I don't have any questions, but I do want to commend the fire department was involved. I wasn't aware, but the police department and your department, for the extra staffing we just talked about during the heavy rains, because a humongous tree on my street fell at about 9 o'clock on the 8th of November, completely blocked the street. I live on a cul-de-sac, so there was no way for any of us at the end of the cul-de-sac to leave. And I called the police department. Someone showed up promptly and stayed there until your department came at 10:30 at night and kept us all awake with chainsaws while they got rid of it. So I appreciate that, because the next morning, do what I need to do. So thank you for that forethought. It's a good response.
I have one question of you. With regard to the Iteris report, we now have draft number 2. Would you be able to obtain from Iteris a copy that will show what changes have been made in draft number 2? I've tried laying them side by side and I'm going nuts trying to figure out what exactly we've accomplished in the last year and a half since the report was returned to them. I think it would be helpful to those, at least commissioners who were involved in dealing with the first copy, and it would probably be helpful to the city council too.
Absolutely. I'll request that and see if we can get an original with the changes or modified.
Yeah, maybe
changes.
they could, redline or whatever you want to, they call it, but go ahead and identify the changes and then circulate that. I think that'll make the review much easier.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the audience for either the police, fire, or Parks and Public Works? If not, we'll move ahead to item 4. Yeah, we do. You're better. Excellent. All right. Thank you for the motion.
I move that we do that.
Yes, thank you for the motion that we accept and file the police department monthly report, accept and file or receive and file the fire department monthly report, and receive and file the Parks and Public Works monthly report. And I'll second that. So would you, those of you on Zoom, would you wave yes?
Aye.
I see. Great.
Aye.
So we have a unanimous agreement on that. Thank you very much. Item 4 on the agenda is the appointment of a member to the ad hoc committee for selection of a consultation firm for the design build of the Lacey Park Playground replacement. Is there someone from staff that would like to comment on that?
Yes, I will. I'll give you just a brief background. The council appointed $150,000 for parks playground management program. Our first step in procuring the new equipment is to hiring a consultant firm to perform a design and build service for the playground equipment. This will enable the consultant to tailor the design of the structure to the unique needs of the community. Staff is recommending the formation of an ad hoc committee to assist in the selection of a consulting firm for design and build services. This role of the commission members of the committee would be to assist in review proposals submitted, help rate the proposals, interview one or more of the consultants, and work with the committee to reach an agreement on the desired consultant that would recommend this to the city council for consideration for the award of design and build. In addition, this member would meet with residents in a couple meetings, so they would have some community input for the design and build. That's all I have for you.
At a recent meeting, we asked Mr. Brazil to involve himself in this area. If the other commissioners are in agreement, I would ask that he volunteer for this continuing assignment.
So I will volunteer for this. I actually will report that I spoke with the chair of the rec commission last week, Mr. Eddie Yan, and we had a very fruitful conversation about this and several other topics. And I understand at their last meeting, they've appointed 2 members of this ad hoc commission or committee. Are there any other members?
From my understanding, yes, it's going to be 2 members of the public works staff.
Okay, so it's
It'd be
2
a
public
total of
works,
5.
2 rec commission, and 1 public safety.
Yes, sir.
Yes, having spoken with the commissioner, the chairman of that commission, and hearing his thoughts, I'm happy to volunteer to this ad hoc committee.
Evidently, the procedure requires us to appoint you. So
I recuse myself from the vote.
So I'm going to make the assumption that that it's acceptable for me to move that the commission appoint Commissioner Bozell to participate as our representative on the ad hoc committee for selection of the consultation firm. Would one of you on Zoom second that, and then we can.
Second,
See a second, all in favor, say aye or wave.
aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I have one procedural question. You've now appointed me as a member of the ad hoc committee for the selection of the consultation firm. I understand there will be steps beyond that that will need to be undertaken. Is this appointment for all the steps through build, or is it just for the selection of the consultation?
To help design it so we could take the community input and your input to actually have something built and fabricated for our playground.
Okay, so I just want to make sure it's not a limited ad hoc committee. It's an ad hoc committee basically to get the playground equipment designed and.
Yes, with the consultant. So you guys will have your input and they will give you designs and examples, and then you guys ultimately will choose, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a request to participate in the creation of an ad hoc traffic. Pardon me. We have a request to participate in a traffic safety task force being structured and to appoint a member of our commission to participate on our behalf. Chief of Contra, would you like to share anything at this point?
Thank you, sir. We, after viewing this request, it originated from the City Council for the Public Safety Commission to create a task force to look at not just the ITERIS report, but to look at other traffic issues and recommendations and mitigations. Originally it was to have a member of Public Safety Commission, a member of the school district, and I want to thank Dr. Michael Lynn for appearing and volunteering for that position. And additionally, one member of the community. Since that was raised at the commission, at the council, we did receive the email from Mr. Letty, and based upon texts and emails that we had, that he shows an interest and has an interest in participating in that group. Since some of our traffic problems, the majority of our traffic problems are centered around the schools, his participation is extremely important. I would like to recommend, in addition to that, that since this came from the council, that a council member be a member as a liaison. And council member Gretchen Shepherd-Romey has expressed an interest to me to participate in that position. I believe that that would be up to the mayor to make that choice. I may be wrong, but that's what I believe. And then I would like to see an additional person from the community participate, because not only did we receive the very passionate information from a resident here on West Boulevard about the conditions here around the district, library, and middle school, but also I've received multiple text messages, emails, and conversations from throughout the city from different members of people, community members that would be interested in participating. And perhaps we can solicit one person in addition to Mr. Larry to participate. That's my recommendation. And we want to look at not just the Iteris, but I think it's important to look at the issues that have grown since this report was commissioned. The issues with north and southbound traffic on numerous streets, not only that we see on Virginia Road, on St. Albans, on Garfield, Los Robles, but me personally seeing the issues on Del Mar that lead to Winston. People are exceeding the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. They are going quickly and crossing over to Robles, which has increased our traffic problems on the side streets or secondary streets, and also on Sierra Madre. That's my report. If you have questions.
I'd like to clarify two things. If the council directed you to create this task force, is that correct?
No, sir, they directed the commission, and I am your staff support member.
Great, okay. So just to clarify then, it's our responsibility to solicit members and to appoint the task force.
Yes, sir.
On our behalf, I take it you have spoken to the gentleman in the audience?
Yes, sir.
And you're willing to participate? Thank you very much for that. I think
I need to recreate the San Marino traffic task force.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would someone like to second the motion? Is it maybe, all right. Commissioner Martinson?
Yep, second, sorry.
If we're following Robert's Rules of Order, we can now talk about this. If we are to create this task force and the city council will appoint a liaison, then we're in a position to, with the agreement of the school district, to appoint their representative and to appoint one of our members, and then to direct, and I would imagine you as our staff, to solicit members of the community to identify others who'd like to participate. In order and then make a selection from the volunteers and make an appointment. Now, we can do most of the things this evening, but we can't appoint a member from the community because we haven't solicited, right? So we could do that. Well, let me ask on behalf of the commission. Do you have a plan for soliciting members of the community and a timetable?
Yes, sir. I will be working with the city clerk and sending out information to the community via our website and other methods of communication for people interested. And also, we will move forward and working with the new liaison or Public Safety Commission member, work with that person to come up with selection.
So that we can make this task force functional. Can we set a target date for appointing the community member? Maybe do the evaluation in December and an appointment in January?
I believe.
All right. Yes. Commissioner Brazil.
Can we appoint the people we can tonight and empower them to appoint the
We could.
so that they can get started? If they want.
Well, I think we've got to, one concern I have is if we're going to solicit the members of the community, we need to do it in a manner in which the community feels that they've had an opportunity to respond,
Right.
and that there is an appropriate review of their applications. And certainly the members of the commission could perform that, or the members of the task force could do the review. But since as we're dealing with members of the community, I think we want to be sure that everyone feels that if they do in fact respond, they've been considered. Do you have any suggestion in that regard as to what the review process might be, Chief?
Since this is a task force, and I believe we will not have to follow Brown Act, that we will make solicitations to each of our civic organizations through the school district and along the website. And we will set a timetable of maybe 3 weeks from now to give everyone who wants to participate. And then we'll be able to give the information probably mid-December for the task force to make a selection. And by the end of December, we will have someone selected. And when the ITERIS report is given at the January meeting, they'll be able to participate, the one remaining person. And we could start from.
Will you have?
And Chairman, but I'm sorry to interrupt. It's hard to tell with Zoom if I'm interrupting, so I apologize for that. I know the city sends out newsletters to all residents, I think on a quarterly basis. Do we have one coming up fairly soon? Because just my suspicion is I think a lot of people who have kids, still in the schools would be interested in applying, but obviously we've got Thanksgiving break, winter break, seniors are applying to college. And so if we know when the next city newsletter is coming out, if we could put an ad about all of these different committees and whatnot, that might be a way to cast a wider net. I just don't know when that newsletter is coming out next.
Are you referring to the document that is published, what is it, a couple of times a year that has?
Several times, right. It's like the newsletter usually has like the rec
Recreation
classes, but
stuff.
there's several pages of community. Right. It comes from the city. It's like it used to be like the rec newsletter, but it also contains, police issues, fire issues, community issues. And it's mailed to every, address in town.
I think it's, everyone, I would agree that we want to do this expeditiously,
Okay.
but at the same time, I think we want to make sure that people have an opportunity to be considered. So I see that our city manager is with us this evening.
I was just gonna offer, the city manager's office has a weekly update that hits several hundred residents, and that combined with the school district's weekly updates to parents, I think that would hit a significant number of residents and provide them the opportunity for their contribution, if that helps.
All right, so Chief, if you would get the formal process together, the form that needs to be filled out, or whatever we're going to use as an application, and get the information to city manager and the school district for distribution,
I'll be able to do that tomorrow.
and we'll try for a 3-week turnaround.
Yes.
3 weeks from now would give us a week before this commission meets in December. I think it would be appropriate if we have some screening method that would be less, I don't want to say less public, but more efficient than having all of the applicants show up at this meeting or at any other meeting. I think we could have a screening and a pre-selection, and it's possible that the members of the task force could do the pre-screening.
If you would like to make it a little bit more helpful, if the commission has some criteria or screen down criteria, I think that would be a better term, in mind now, I can use that as a way to make the list smaller and then be able to provide a much more manageable list to the task force members to do the final screen and selection.
Well, I can poll the members of the commission and ask if they have such recommendation or criteria, or if they would like to submit something subsequent to the meeting within the next 48 hours.
Yes.
Commissioners, do any of you want to submit something? I suggest we submit it directly to Chief and Contra so we can capture the data in terms of criteria for selection.
Yep, we can support that.
Yeah,
All right, so within 48 hours, we will, as members of the commission, provide any input that we are able to directly to you. If you would summarize whatever criteria you're able to put together based upon the input that you have and our input, and can you redistribute it to us without creating a Brown Act issue?
We'll be able to figure it out.
Good. So once you've done that, we can give you some kind of feedback.
Thank you.
All right. We are in a position to appoint at least one member of the task force this evening. And we may be able to appoint a member from our commission to the task force as well. Each of the members of the commission have received the notice of the desire to have someone appointed in this packet. Are there members of the commission that would like to play that role? Is there
Since he's
someone on the
unmuted, I
commission that would-
nominate Commissioner Martin.
May I overrule you? I'd like to see if we have others that are interested. I know that Commissioner Chang is not with us this evening, but is it fair to say that Commissioner Martinson is interested?
Sure. I mean, in terms of, I would like to understand more about the role and see how the community's feedback will be used to drive it forward. I don't think I have full clarity yet about the task force.
Commissioner Pfeffer?
yeah, I mean, the same, I think, what the commission is what the task force is tasked with doing, looking at reports or making recommendations or and what they're to do. I think it's a good idea.
I think the truth of the matter is we have many people that are interested. And we can, of course, vote to select someone. But I'd like to have the opportunity for the other members of the commission that are interested, if we could see something that is possibly a little more informative than the material we received. Trying to find it here.
Agreed, Chair. I mean, just in terms of how long is the task force? What are the goals? What type of feedback are we looking at? Tactical or strategic?
If you will permit me, I will meet with the chief in the next couple of days or as his schedule permits. And we'll flesh this out and we'll distribute something to you so that you can make a better, more informed decision.
Thank you, Chair. I think that'd be helpful for this commission, but also for the city as they possibly want to apply and get involved to understand what they're doing too.
Well, I think it'll be helpful when we solicit participation from the community, you're right. So I'm going to, if you permit me, to delay the appointment of a member of the Public Safety Commission. I would be happy to accept a motion to appoint a citizen participant. I think that would be appropriate. He's shaking his head. Yes. Would you like to make that motion?
Sure, I'm sorry, what was your name again? Justin Levy. Justin Levy. I move to appoint Justin Levy as a member of the San Marino Traffic Task Force.
I second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye or wave aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Justin. Appreciate your participation. And as soon as we get the better definition prepared that we're going to use to circulate to the community, we'll copy you so that you'll know what you're volunteering.
He's the inaugural member.
There you go.
Now, do we need to appoint the representative from the school district as well?
I think there is one recommended.
Yes.
Dr. Lynn from the school district itself. I spoke with Dr. De La Torre, and it was Dr. De La Torre's recommendation that Dr. Lynn participate in this task.
And Dr. Lynn, as we recall, was a participant in a discussion we had recently on traffic safety around the school. So, may I make a motion?
Well, first, we should ask maybe Dr. Lynn will give additional information that apparently this commission before we appoint a member. I want to make sure he's okay volunteering to do without that information.
I was sitting in a better place than you were. He was shaking his head. Yes,
Okay.
so I saw that. But yeah, are you comfortable with participating? Thank you. Then I move that we appoint Dr. Lynn as a member of the traffic task force.
That's all.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations. Thank you both. Anything else that anyone would like to discuss with regard to the creation of the task force?
We vote on actually creating it. I don't think we actually did. Did we?
Yeah.
We had a motion and a second.
You
but
moved and Martinson second.
We didn't have an actual vote, is all I'm saying. If we need it. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item 6.
Okay, and I want to go back for just one second, just get some clarity. So we've got this timeline that we talked about. Releasing information to the public in the next couple of days. Us getting input, do we have any on the, what do you call it, take down, or pull down, or whatever criteria we think is appropriate to exclude people from the process, the screening process.
But then we also asked for a bunch of additional information before we appointed. Are we going forward with that timeline? Between our meetings, are we waiting to our next meeting to appoint a member of this commission as a member of the task force? What did we decide? Is Chief Encontro leaving here with direction to release his information to the public for solicitation of community members?
Well, I'll tell you where I think we are.
Okay.
I think we have agreed to appoint 2 members to the task force, which we've agreed to commit or to create. We've also agreed to sit with the chief and review and put together some criteria for solicitation, which would include information on the task and the timing and what the minimum expected commitment would be. And then using that information would be circulated by email to the members of this commission for review. And I'm expecting that we would give feedback to the chief. And then once we have the feedback, hopefully within the next week to 10 days, we could then implement the solicitation process using the tools that the city manager offered along with website and others, with a goal of obtaining volunteers in time for this commission to make an appointment a month from now. Now, what I've left out and is the most important part, which is the screening. And since the commission at this point consists of only 2 appointees for the task force, I don't think it's fair to charge them with the screening process, at least not alone.
I agree.
So I would like to rely on the criteria that we create, which may self-screen people. And I would propose that, as maybe impractical as it sounds, that we address the issue at the next meeting. That we essentially invite the people who have volunteered and who clearly have indicated that they have time and the willingness to participate, come to our meeting. We could set aside special time, but I'm not sure that we can do it outside of the meeting. I don't know if we have anyone that's in a position to advise us.
I will also respond to the city attorney.
Would you? So, because obviously we'd like to get it going, and I agree with you, Mr. Gisella, we need to have room, have some structure. But I hate to delegate something to the two people we appointed tonight when we don't really have it ready yet. Is that all right with you?
I mean, yes, so the goal would be at the next meeting to appoint both one of our member from our commission and a member of the public to be the last 2 members of the
Traffic
5 commission.
task force.
The 5.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's my understanding. Is that comfortable with you, Commissioner Speffer and Martinson?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to item 6. We've been informed that the city council has made the decision that commissions may return to the city hall for meetings.
Yes, sir.
And we are asked this evening to make a decision as to whether we wish to continue meeting here or to move back to the city council chambers.
Yes, sir. There was a discussion by city manager and the city clerk that each member of each commission or board should be part of a discussion rather than relying, or rather than having one person from each commission or board make a decision for all. In part because of issues with infectious diseases or others things. And perhaps some people like to be here in Barthroom, or others would like to return to the city council chambers. And with that in mind, chair-led discussion with the other members is important, and to have reach a decision on where you would like to have your meeting.
And with that in mind, I would invite anyone to ask any questions or offer any comments, and then we'll pull them in. And we will continue to have the option of participating by Zoom.
Yes.
So even if whether we stay here or move back to the city hall, commissioners can participate by Zoom.
I believe there will be a rule change in January that members participating via Zoom will have to state their location.
Did you hear that? Those who are participating by Zoom right now, that apparently by January, it will be necessary for those of us who choose to participate by Zoom to identify where we are physically located at the time that we're participating. Any questions or comments or preferences? Mr. Pfeffer, preference?
No, I think City Hall is actually very convenient that, you know, the police and fire and, you know, city staff can walk over or be in the same building. So it certainly makes sense.
Commissioner Martinson?
I agree with Commissioner Pfeffer that if it's easier for city staff, I'm in support of it.
Mr. Brazil?
I have a question about the Zoom specs. It's been many years. I've been on the Zoom. We've been having technical difficulties tonight with the other commissioners being able to hear and there aren't any members of the public. There are 5 people standing around. Is the setup in the city council chambers, is it better?
Let's just plug in a computer over there. The microphones are already installed. We don't have to do the setup for that each meeting. That's pretty much it. It's just the computer.
Is it cheaper for the city to have it there? Is it just set up?
We do have a recreation employee that sets up the meeting prior to the meeting, and then he'll stay afterwards to dismantle.
Mentioned the infectious disease. Is there a noticeable difference in risk from one place to the other? This is a slightly larger room, but other than that, are we dealing with any increased exposure risk going back?
Well, to answer your last question first, we have seen by looking at the LA County Department of Public Health that there has been an increase in COVID cases, and also there are a significant number of other respiratory viruses that the public, all of us are facing. The room is smaller, so your ability to stretch out or move farther apart is. But as a recommendation has been for the past nearly 3 years, you can always wear a mask, and you can always take other precautions. If I believe when we would have a city council meeting where a city council member was not in attendance but was participating, there was requirement not only to state, but they would have to post the meeting agenda, I think, or just that the meeting was occurring at wherever they were at the time. We will be able to get additional information, but that's a fairly simple task, and it was done by several council members over the years.
There are at least 3 of us that are comfortable moving back. And how about you?
I'm fine.
So shall we take a vote? I move that we move the site of the Public Safety Commission meetings back to the City Hall beginning in December of 2022.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That brings us to item number 7, the minutes. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 17th.
Yes.
And I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any written communications or public writings to be distributed? I believe not. We do not specifically have any other items on the agenda. Can we confirm the date of our next meeting? It will be December, 3rd Monday of December,
19,
December 19th.
is it?
I think so.
December 19th.
And we'll meet at the San Marino City Hall at 6 p.m.
Submit the report to City Council for the December 14th meeting, and if approved, it would be at City Hall. Yes.
So when we see the agenda, we'll know where we're meeting. So commission members, we'll all have to pay close attention. Well, thank you all for being here this evening. Thank you for your participation. We look forward to working with you, Justin. And we are adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone.